Hi, this is Dr. Stack again. It's late in the evening. You know that great song by Mr. Eric Clapton, Enemy. So I'm still on a roll here, and I have this idea, and I'm putting it out on some research. So I'm trying to share it here because I think it's something new. It's a new model of justice, healing, stability, and problem solving before court. So, what would a justice system look like if it was designed not simply to punish, defeat, or produce winners and losers, but to heal, stabilise, and solve problems? Being a mathematician, that's what we're about, solving problems. So, this is the question I want to raise in this video. Our current justice systems are built around conflict, one side against another, claim and defence, prosecution and accused, applicant and respondent, winner and loser, verdict, order, sentence, appeal. Of course, courts are necessary. Serious wrongdoing must be addressed, rights must be protected, the rule of law must be upheld. But we need to ask the question whether the court should always be the first meaningful intervention. So this is where I'm coming in. We're always hearing about early intervention, for all kinds of issues. So why don't we have the early intervention concept in the court, in the justice system? But we need to ask whether the court should always be the first meaningful intervention. In many cases, by the time people reach court, the harm has already escalated. Families are broken, children are caught in conflict, people are traumatized, workplaces have become toxic, debt and housing problems have spiraled, victims may not feel protected, accused persons may not have received early intervention. Communities may be left no safer, and the justice system often arrives late when the problems have become more expensive, more damaging, and more difficult to resolve. So this is where I'm coming from. So I am proposing a different model, a new justice system design. At the bottom of the system, before court, there should be a mandatory problem-solving stage. Now, I started off thinking about arbitration and a lot of my papers, but then when I went deeper into arbitration, it was just another form of adjudication, but it was quasi-legal, seemed to be quasi-legal. Arbitration, but it was still based in adjudication. So no, I'm not. I changed then. Once I understood that, I changed to this model. At the bottom of the system, before court, there should be a mandatory problem-solving stage. This should apply in different forms to both civil and criminal justice, not as a weak alternative, not as a tick box mediation exercise, not as a way of denying anyone their legal rights, but as a serious, properly resourced, interdisciplinary justice intervention. I think it's timely. It's a timely discussion given the world we're living in, and a timely intervention and a timely discussion about this idea. Before a civil dispute becomes a court battle, there should be mandatory assessment by a problem-solving team. The team might include legal experts. We can't leave them out. No. Mediators, trauma specialists, psychologists, financial advisors, housing experts, workplace specialists, or family support professionals, depending on the case. The aim would be to ask, what is the real problem here? Is this really a legal dispute, or is it a human crisis that has become legal because no one interfered early enough? Could harm be reduced? Could stability be restored? Could communication be repaired? Could housing be protected? Could children and families be safeguarded? Could financial collapse be prevented? Could the dispute be resolved before it becomes a destructive legal war? In criminal justice, the same principles should apply carefully and safely. There will always be serious issues where prosecution, trial, and sentencing are necessary. But many criminal matters also involve addiction, poverty, mental distress, homelessness, trauma, family breakdown, or social instability. So if we simply punish without addressing the causes, we often create recurrence. We punish the person, but we do not solve the problem. A healing justice model would ask, what would reduce the risk of harm happening again? What would protect the victim? What would hold the wrongdoer accountable in a meaningful way? What treatment, supervision, restitution, safeguarding, or community repair is needed? What would make society safer in the long term? This is not soft justice. This is a big word, deeper justice. It is justice that asks not only what penalty should be imposed, but also what would prevent the harm from repeating. The structure I would propose is this. First, as a basis of the system, a mandatory interdisciplinary problem-solving stage. Second, where that fails, where the case is too serious or unsafe for resolution, the matter proceeds to court. Third, after court, there must be a proper appeal system, as we have at the moment, to correct error, unfairness or injustice. And fourth, at the top, as we know, Supreme Courts and constitutional courts should remain available for the most serious questions of law, rights, constitutional matters, of course, democracy and public importance. So the courts do not disappear. They become more focused. They deal with the cases that truly require adjudication. But many disputes would be prevented from becoming legal battles in the first place. This would change the purpose of justice. Justice would no longer be measured only by how many cases are processed, how many verdicts are delivered, or how quickly files are closed. Justice would be measured by better outcomes, less harm, less recurrence, less trauma, greater stability, better protection of children, better protection of victims, more meaningful accountability, stronger communities, lower long-term public cost, and greater trust in democratic institutions. In the age of artificial intelligence, this is especially important. AI may help with information, access, administration, legal guidance, but it cannot replace human judgment. It cannot replace compassion. It cannot replace every form of trauma, coercion, vulnerability, or power imbalance. It cannot heal a justice system that is poorly or badly designed. If the system is built around punishment, winning, losing, and late-stage conflict, AI may simply make, as we said earlier, the system faster or worse. But faster is not the same thing as fairer, and fairer is not the same thing as faster, is not the same thing as healing. So the justice system of the future should be, this is my big idea, should be designed around a different principle. Court where necessary. It's all about conflict resolution, dispute resolution, problem solving, and it's how that should be designed. So courts where necessary, problem solving where possible, healing where needed, accountability where required, stability is the goal. Justice should not simply ask who wins. It should ask what would reduce harm. It should not simply ask what verdict should be reached. It should ask what would move people, families, workplaces, victims, communities, and society towards a safer and more stable future. That, to me, is the next great challenge in justice reform. A justice system should not merely punish. It should not merely process. It should not merely produce winners and losers. A true justice system should protect, repair, stabilise, and where possible, heal. Justice should move people away from conflict and towards stability. This is the model we now need to begin building. So this is my big idea on academia.ie, on one of my pillars, and it's so people are engaging with this idea, and the precursors to this idea on arbitration first, and then I've moved to this model because I think this model is a better design, but it takes time to kind of figure out what design would work better for what I'm trying to do here. So this is just putting it out there for anybody to make a comment. Maybe the legal fraternity mightn't like this, but I've included them very much in the design of the system. In the system, there are many legal professionals who are excellent problem solvers and mediators and would be ideal in this system to assist the interdisciplinary. But the burden of problem solving wouldn't just lie on one person. It would be interdisciplinary, so they would share the load and they would bring different skills to the problem solving